Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and in this video, I'm going to be giving an introduction, a beginner's guide to buy-to-let property investing. Maybe you've considered buying a house and renting it out, but you're not sure what the pros and the cons are versus other things like cryptocurrencies, business, or maybe buying your own house to live in. So in this video, I'm going to outline the good and the bad, the pros and the cons of buy-to-let property investing. I'm going to be using my experience to talk about the due diligence that you need to do before you buy a property, the types of mortgages that you're going to need, where the best areas are in the UK in 2022, and also what the next steps are. If you do decide to buy a property as a buy-to-let, how do you find it? Where do you go? Who do you talk to? And what are the next steps? So if you enjoy my content, do me a favor and hit the like button, and that would really help me out a lot. So firstly, buy-to-let investing, is it good? Is it bad? There's a lot of talk about buy-to-let being dead, buy-to-let being hard, and I don't agree with that, because I remember people saying that 10 years ago when I first started building my buy-to-let portfolio. Everybody always complains, and the reason I think they complain is because they haven't got the funds, they haven't got the money to buy a property and to rent it out. But actually, if you have got the money, I think it's a great investment. Let me explain why. If you put, say, £20,000 into the stock market, let's say on average the stock market trends up and it goes up by 10% per annum, which is about standard, and after 10 years, your money has doubled. That would be a really good investment. You'd be really happy with that, I imagine. You've doubled your money in 10 years. But the property market historically also doubles on average every 10 years. I mean, certainly if you look over the last 2 years, it's gone up by 10% per annum. If you look at the last 10 years, the last 20 years, the last 50, 100 years, properties double in value every 10 years, generally speaking. So if you put £20,000 down in a stock and it doubles after 10 years, you've doubled your money. But if you put £20,000 down on a buy-to-let house with a buy-to-let mortgage and rent it out, not only are you going to be getting an income from that property every single month, but if that property doubles in value, you've not just doubled your money, have you? Because the £20,000 was the deposit. If the house was a £100,000 house and you put down 20 grand, the house doubles in value, not the deposit. So your 20 grand has now become a £200,000 house. So you've effectively not just doubled your money, but you've made £100,000 profit on 20 grand. We call that leverage. And the great thing about property is that you can do this. You can't do this with Bitcoin. You can't do this with the stock market. You can't do this with gold and silver. You can't borrow money from the banks to buy gold. You can't borrow money from the banks to buy stocks because they're too volatile. The banks would consider it too high risk. But property is a very safe investment. It's a very unvolatile investment, which gives you capital appreciation and rent. And that's why people that make a lot of money invest it into property 90% of the time. So I personally think that buy-to-let investing is a very good investment. It's very safe. Sure, you can make more fast money doing business or rent-to-rents, but I think buy-to-let is a very good, safe investment, and it's done me very, very well. So where should you buy-to-let properties? I think it's a myth to say that you have to buy where you live. People that say they have to buy where they live, oh, I want to buy half an hour from my house. I'll say, why? And they'll say, because if there's a problem, I'll be able to step in. That's a terrible plan A, because you know why? There will be a problem, and then you will have to step in, and that's not financial freedom. That's called a rope around your neck. That's called a financial burden. That's a headache. So what I would advise if you're looking at buy-to-let investing is to find an area that actually works well. People moan, oh, buy-to-let doesn't work because it might not work very well where they live. But actually, find somewhere that it does work and then put a management team in place. Typically, a management company for buy-to-let properties will charge 10% of the rent. So if the rent's £1,000 a month, they'll take £100 and then they'll give you the £900. People say, oh no, I want to make more money, I want to make the full 1,000, but then you're going to have to manage it. You're going to have to find and vet the tenants. You're going to have to collect the rent. You're going to, if there's any maintenance, you're going to have to deal with the maintenance man. The letting agent, there are companies out there in pretty much every single city across the UK where companies will offer a completely hands-off management experience for landlords and investors, and they on average charge 10% of the rent. So what I would say is find an area whereby you can make good returns. What do I mean by that? This is really, really interesting, and you need to know this if you're wanting to invest in buy-to-let property, and that is this, that there is no direct correlation between house prices and market rents. What do I mean by this? I mean, if you've got an area whereby the house prices are £1 million, okay? The £1 million, or the average houses are £1 million. Let's say in, I don't know, some nice part of York or something. Well, the rents might be £1,000. But if you then find another area where the house prices are a tenth of the price, they're not £1 million, they're 100 grand, the rents will not be a tenth of the price. The rents won't be £100. So there's no direct correlation between house prices and rents, which is why I believe if you're going to be a buy-to-let investor, you should buy low and rent high. I'm going to give you a poem right now. This poem pretty much sums up everything I know about buy-to-let investing, and it goes like this. Buy low, rent high, with a property manager nearby. That pretty much sums up buy-to-let property investing. So find areas where you can buy houses cheap, rent them for as high as you can with a management company so that it can be completely systemized. So where do you find these types of houses? What areas exist? Well, I've bought houses in places like Middlesbrough, on the outskirts of Manchester, Hull, Bloxwich. I've built up a lot of my portfolio in Bloxwich. Some of the houses that I bought in Bloxwich were like 65 grand. They've now doubled in value. I've had the same tenants in there for over a decade. So I don't live there. I live in Buckinghamshire. If I'm on holiday, I'm not worried thinking what happens if there's a problem. Why? Because my management company are taking care of everything. So if you're looking at a property to buy, these are the things you need to do. Number one, you need to look at the EPC certificate online and check that the energy performance certificate is at least a D. They're changing the rules and they're saying that it needs to be a C by 2025. What this means is the house needs to be energy efficient. So if the windows are single glazed, the walls aren't insulated, then it's probably going to be a bad energy performance house, which is going to mean your bills are expensive, the tenants are going to be unhappy, and you're going to have to make improvements to the house. You can check this on, if you just Google EPC certificate postcode, it will come up with the council website. You can search the address and you can find out what the EPC is. You can also find on the EPC other interesting information, like how big the house is, how many square footage the house is. If you know how big the house is, because it's on the EPC, you can then go on Rightmove, look at sold house prices, look at all the houses that sold in the street, find out how much they sold for, find out how big they were, and then you can work out the value of the house before you offer on it, and you can use this as negotiation power when offering on a property. Number two, make sure you get a survey on the house before you buy it. You want an independent building survey on the house before you buy it. Really, 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 really important. Number three, you want to make sure that the management company is a good management company. Check their reviews, build rapport with them, make sure that the management company is good. Number four, don't buy the first house that you see. Be prepared to walk away. View lots of houses, be prepared to walk away and work out the return on investment. Return on investment is how much cash am I putting in? Deposit, stamp duty, legal fees, let's say 50 grand, great. How much cash am I getting back? The rent minus the mortgage payments, the maintenance, the voids, the management, how much profit am I expected to be making each month? Take your annual profit, divide that by your total investment, and that will give you your return on investment. And I never buy a property unless the return on investment is a minimum of 15% per annum. And then lastly, you just got to take action. So if you're wanting to get into buy-to-lets, pick up the phone right now and start calling estate agents, telling them what you're wanting to do, and go out there and view some houses. If you get stuck along the way, message me on Instagram and I'll help all I can. I am going to be running a one-day property investors crash course where we're going to be finding live property investments across the UK. I'm going to be talking about how to package and sell deals, different investment alternatives, and ultimately how to find your patch and how to kill it in the property market. If you'd like to join me at the Property Investors Crash Course, I will leave a free link. Spaces are limited, but they are free. So get booked on. I'll leave a link in the description. If you want to see more videos like this, you can check them out right here. Come down to the Property Investors Crash Course. I'll leave a link. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos. I'll see you next time.